All right. Well, welcome to yet another episode of C2C, Coach to Coach Central, where we have honest and open conversations with coaches who've been in their business, in this sphere for a number of years and are ready to share with us all the secrets, all the inside knowledge that is not that readily available, openly. So today I have a very special guest, and I'll tell you a little bit later why this guest is especially super special. Limor, welcome to the show.
Hi, Lidia. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be here today.
All right. Well, let's start with the, first things first. Please introduce yourself, like in a couple of sentences. What type of coaching you do, who you help, how you help them with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I coach, I think it's called career coaching, like the term. So I coach mainly women in corporate, especially women in tech, where that's my background. I used to work in tech for many years, and I help them to advance in their careers and get more confidence. Basically, they do all the work. The women that reach out to me, usually they want to advance their careers or maybe solve a challenge they are having in their careers. So that's kind of my focus and my passion. And that's, by the way, Lydia, the reason why I do coaching, because I want to see more women, especially in tech, succeed and get to executive roles.
Absolutely. That's amazing niche. That's amazing mission and the purpose. And I always tell my clients that the number one question when they decide they want to transition their career from corporate to coaching, the number one question is why? Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to become a coach? So having a clear why, having a clear mission is something that's gonna be super important in all the aspects and building your business. Well, there is one more thing that you do, Limor. And first of all, I promise to tell our listeners why you're a special guest. Well, we realize that we live in the same city, which we just realized 5 minutes ago before we started this formal conversation, and that you're vice president of the ICF Israeli chapter. Am I right?
Yes, you are correct. So we should definitely meet in person next time. And I joined the ICF, and pretty soon after joining, I was part of the leaders of the chapter leaders. And then after a year in chapter leadership, they asked me, to nominate myself to be a vice president. So that's what I'm doing today. And I think the ICF is a wonderful community. So we have our own community here in Israel. In general, the ICF is great because they have high standards. We know that all of us are, kind of meeting certain standards. And also what I love about it, it's the continuous learning and developing. It's not like learning never ends. Actually, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Again, one other kind of benefit of being a coach, I always tell for me, is that the coach never stops learning. It's just not possible. If you want to continue to be helpful to your clients, if you want to continue to solve, challenges that arise in the modern world, for your clients, you have to keep learning. You have to be up to date of what's going on, both in the industry, kind of the professional knowledge, and on the global scale, right? Kind of technological change, business change. So depending on the sector and the niche and the focus. I wanna draw us back. So you mentioned that you had a corporate career, and at some point you made this change. You made this switch. I think my listeners, my clients are doing the same. So walk us through your story of transition. You mentioned your why. But how did it happen exactly? Was it the inside one day? Was it brewing? Did you meet anyone? Tell us your story.
Yeah. So I worked in tech. I was leading engineering. So I started as a software engineer and grew into management and leading engineering organizations. And I felt a passion for women. So first of all, in my career, most of it I was either the only woman in the room or one of very few. And also, what frustrated me was that the more I advanced in my career, well, I saw fewer women there.
Yeah.
And and like the Lean In org and McKinsey, they publish every year this report, which I highly recommend reading, Women at the Workplace. And they show statistics. And they show statistics about how many women are in corporate in different compared to men. And also they do it for people of color. And I mean, statistically, it's proven it's not just a sense of me, but it's like the more you grow into leadership roles in C-suite and also founders, you see very few women there. So it started first like I was frustrated. I tried to exercise the influence I had as an employee in companies to really, hire more women, help women at my organization advance. I was involved in women ERGs. So I tried to do whatever I could and realized that I mean, it really becoming a passion. And like I felt a strong sense of calling that this is something I should focus on. That combined with mentoring, it's not coaching, it's mentoring, it's something different, but I started mentoring managers. I think it was in 2017, just pro bono, like I wasn't even charging anything, and I really enjoyed it. And kind of, felt like I needed to do something different. I felt like this, it was really difficult, Lydia, because I was very comfortable. I had a very high paying job, but I felt inside that that's not where I should continue. That's not where I belong.
That
And
internal voice, right?
exactly. I didn't know back then that I will be coaching or what that would be, but I knew that I wanted to leave and start my own business and have it something around women in tech, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So when I left corporate, so I just did it cold turkey, like I left everything.
Oh,
I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to
yeah.
women, but it happened for me personally because we moved back here to Israel. So we moved from the US here, and it was already a big change moving. I have 4 children and moving us all back. And I knew that I couldn't keep the job I had in the US. So I felt like, okay, that's my chance to make this bold move. Otherwise, if I was afraid that if I found a job in Israel, I would never leave because I would again become comfortable, good paycheck, and I will never be brave enough to leave. So I said, okay, it's now or never. I have to do it. So that was kind of what led me to it, in short.
Wow. Yeah. Well, actually, I did the same. I did left corporate, well, now 10 years ago, and started my own business, also called Turkey. And I also don't necessarily recommend that folks do it unless, they have very strong, like, they don't like the work that they do, like they have a strong feelings about it. Or like you said, like in your situation, it's just the situation is,
Yeah.
calling you to do that. But I agree. It puts, and I tell you why, and I'd be curious to hear because you talk to other coaches. Because I think once you leave and you need to take the coaching certification, that takes time, and then you start building a business that not that easy. It just puts pressure on you. I don't want to say a lot or a little. It probably depends on a person, but it might take un, unnecessary pressure on you, and that might just not be super helpful.
I completely agree, Lydia. And I started consulting first, by the way. Consulting, by the way, can be an easy transition for someone who is thinking about coaching. Can be easy transition because you kind of you have a lot of experience, right? And a lot of companies can use that. So consulting can be an easy route. And I know a lot of people that start their way with consulting. But yeah, I would say if you know that you want to become a coach, get a certification while you still work.
Right, right. Get the certification, start first, getting first clients. And then, when you're 100% sure this is what you want to do, you kind of more or less understand the niche. Yeah, totally, totally agree. Because I say there is nothing worse than a desperate coach, like a coach who like desperately need, want this client because they need to they need just pay the bill. So I think that's kind of one of the worst type of coach. All right. Um, so I think, for you choosing a niche was kind of easy job, right? You had a passion, and then you started consulting. So then comes coaching. Walk us through kind of the next evolution of your
Yeah,
coaching
so
business.
I started consulting, and I remember that when I was consulting, I was like, okay, I was not counting on one kind of client, so I was in the same time exploring kind of what I wanted to do, and I started mentoring, paid mentoring, so kind of doing coach. I didn't know that I was actually mostly coaching rather than mentoring because I've been doing it for so many years, and I was also a very experienced manager. So I kind of, had it within me. Like the coaching was part of who I am. But I just didn't know that that's what I was doing for the most part. And I remember that I was talking with a company with a potential client, and they asked me, "Oh, are you a certified coach?" And when they asked me, I said, I should get a certification. That was kind of my eureka moment that, oh, I should actually get a certification. That makes total sense because I want to do that. And if I do something, I want to know that I'm the best I could be, the best version of myself. So that's kind of what led me to do a coaching certification. But I will tell you, Lidia, you talked about a niche. And by the way, I heard both side of the spectrum. People say niche down as much as possible, and people saying don't over niche and try to be a broader. I would
Okay.
hear kind of what you think about that.
No, absolutely. So my point of view, and again, I've changed few niches over my career of 8 years. I've been a life coach, helping women at midlife crisis, helping them to get through that kind of reimagining their life, they're imagining their identity, and then I moved to more kind of productivity coach, habit coach. And now it's kind of my third, I guess, evolution, becoming a business coach, working with coaches. What I suggest, at least in the very beginning, I suggest to niche down as much as possible. And anyone I've met, any of my clients, whatever the niche they tell me, it was not narrow enough. So your niche is perfect. I think your niche is perfect, but you also established coach, so it works very well for you. But when someone comes to me and they haven't done any coaches, I think there are a number of benefits. I'll tell you the number of benefits of niching down in the beginning. First of all, it's just easier to get your first clients because you're very specific and you're talking to specific people in specific situation, facing a specific problem or want to reach a specific goal. So that would just be easier to get your first clients. Secondly, you will start, if you get a number of clients in that very narrow niche, you just become very good at it very quickly, like quicker than if you be, helping someone with the health and then helping someone with a career or a career in that industry. Even the career coach to me is just way too broad. Helping someone in the tech industry, helping someone in the healthcare industry. Now there's industry specifics, there are level specifics there. So you just become quicker, more qualified, you get clients better, you become a better expert. And then I think, it's just natural either to kind of move niches, how I did, or just broaden it a little, or even not a little, right? You just become more experienced coach, and it's much easier for you to work with a wide range of different um, clients. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so when I started, I was I was niching on, I knew that I wanted to help women in tech. I knew that I wanted to help women meet careers, so not like super early in their careers or very very seasoned. But even through, as I coach, I keep kind of discovering more and more about who I like to serve, and who, like, I see myself like I'm serving some kind of clients, and who are they I want to serve. And I realize that I really want to serve like specific kind of women, that they are in management, and they have challenges in the workplace, and their challenges a lot of time is related to stakeholders and their managers or with their team. So I kind of even that narrowed down. And it's not that necessarily I will not help someone else, but I found that maybe I'm less effective or even less passionate about supporting, for example, if someone comes to me, because a lot of people, think when you say career coach, they think that I'm like a career advisor, that I can help them figure out what they want to do when they grow up and all that. And that's not who I am. And also I'm not very passionate about this. I'm not saying that it's not a needed problem to help people solve. I just don't want to be the one solving it.
Right. And you touched, yeah, no, absolutely right. This is another point that, there is, if you're passionate about something, then you become the best coach for that client in that specific niche. That's why kind of the niche down is better, not just for a coach, but also for the client. I just think it benefits everybody. But I want to touch on something you mentioned. Like you said, people confuse you with career coach with career advisor. And I
Yeah.
think it's a broader issue that is on the market that I'm trying to talk about, to educate people about that, a consultant, an advisor, and mentor, you also mentioned, is
Yeah.
not a coach. And a coach is obviously not any of those roles. And latest ICF report, the international ICF studies showed that the number of the market is growing. I think it doubled compared to 2019, and the number of coaches doubled, which is great. I think the more coaches out there, the more education, the more people know what coaching is and understand the value of coaching. So we coaches benefit. Don't be afraid. I tell my clients, don't be afraid that there are more coaches out there. Welcome more coaches out there. They helping you promote your own business. But what are some other big misconceptions, out there that people don't understand about coaching or about coaches? Maybe something that kind of really frustrates you, bothers you. Would you
So
share some of
I
them?
wouldn't necessarily say frustrate or bother me, but I would say there are some misconceptions that I see with clients that reach out to me. So either they think that I'm a therapist, right? I mean, some of them come and because we are on the borderline, right? I mean, there's therapy and there is coaching, and there are some blurry lines there. So some people, and I kind of notice the words that they choose to use, right? And when they use words from kind of therapy word, I immediately correct them and kind of start explaining to them that I'm not like a psychologist or any mental health like professional, and I try to explain to them that what coaching is, right? And that's not therapy.
Right.
Another misconception is about, as you said, like advisor versus coach, or even I would say instructors. So some people to me come to me and they think that I'm going to teach them
Right.
something, right? I'm going to teach them how to be managers. I'm going to teach them, I don't know, how to negotiate, whatever the challenge is. And this is another misconception. It's like, you haven't come to a training here. Like, yeah,
Right.
I can share tools. I always share resources with them, and I can support, but that's not what coaching is. And I always say to people, like, think about it like you come with some challenges and you probably have the skills to do what you want to do. I'm just here to help you realize that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think that probably comes because so many course creators or the teachers call themselves coaches. So people see that, people hear that. So when they come to coaches, they think they're going to teach them, like guitar coach or vocal coach or accent coach is going to teach them the guitar, is going to teach them the accent, right? This is a big confusion, right? Career coach is not going to teach them about career. So I understand why people
Yeah.
get.
Yeah. And also they think that I'm going to tell them what to do. So, you know how it is. Like clients, a lot of times they have challenges or they have different decisions that they need to make from small to big. And they reach out to me and they think that I can tell them what they should do. And this is a common thing that happens all the time. And I'm always saying, like, I cannot make a decision for you because I don't know what is the right decision for you. Only you do. I mean, what I usually do, I just help them kind of weigh in all the options, ask them a lot of questions so they can kind of think out loud and realize what they should do or what they should try doing. You know, sometimes there's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of times they don't know what is the right answer. But this is another misconception that people think that the coach is a consultant. Like they come to me and I will tell them what to do. And it doesn't work that way.
No, no, absolutely not. And I think, again, there is a place and situation for consulting, and there is a place, a situation for coaching. Um, I think when the coach is skilled enough and understanding the boundaries of the coach role, sometimes can take off the coaching hat and say, okay, well, I can teach you something, but I now not in the coaching capacity. Like there could be a situation like that, but that's why it's super important for coach to understand those boundaries, those principles, those ethics, code of ethics, and stuff like that. I want to take us back to business of coaching. So, you started with the consulting, right? With the through your knowledge, then you got the coaching degree. Was that how did you get your first coaching clients? I'm gonna say it kind of word it like that because I feel like for many it's like the big step from like no paying clients to getting a paying coaching client.
Yeah. So for me, because I was already kind of doing, not as I told you, like I was mentoring and it was like kind of in a mix of that. So I already had, in a way, experience doing that. And I think the easiest way is to do it through different kind of coaching marketplaces. I don't know how you call it.
Right.
And so I think I got my first client through, a company called Growth Space here in Israel. So I actually
Yeah, I
consulted to
know
them.
these folks.
I actually consulted to them first for a very, very short time, and then I became one of their experts. And yeah, it was an easy way
Oh,
to get clients. Another way is through people you know, right? I mean, and that's why I say usually it's much easier to start when you're still working, because
right.
then you work with different people and you have colleagues and you have people in other companies, and it's much easier for you to kind of have people recommend you. Like, um, yeah. So I think it's probably the easiest to start either with people you know or can refer you, or with different kind of companies who offer coaching services to other companies, and you can just be listed as one of their coaches.
Yeah, I agree. The Coach.me, the company that I work with for, we do the same. So yeah, absolutely. Today there are a number of marketplace or platform that offer coaching services. I think that's one of the ways to get clients. And of course, I always vote for your network. Like you said, people around you, once even while you're still getting your coaching certification, just talk about it everywhere. Talk to your kids, friends, parents. Talk to your neighbor in the elevator. Talk in the grocery store. You never know. It can, of course, it depends on the industry, but just talk about, you're a coach. Talk about it everywhere. All right. What would you say were some of the challenges that you experienced in the beginning of your coaching journey?
Yeah, I would say that I still face challenges. I mean, for me, one of the challenges is the switching from the employee mindset to the business owner mindset. And I was an employee for all my life. And I grew up in a family of middle class people. My parents worked for one employer their whole career. So shifting is very difficult, at least for me. It's not very easy. And part of like being a business owner, that you have to market yourself and sell yourself all the time. That's part of what you do. Like you have to marketing and sales. Like every business cannot live without marketing and sales. And while many of us would like just to do coaching, you're a coach, you want to do what you love and coach people. You cannot have a business without having marketing and sales, like constantly marketing yourself and, reaching out to people and talking with people and getting clients. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. First of all, it's something that I've never done. So I have to learn it, right? I constantly learn and evolve. I mean, I'm actually fascinated by that. And so you have to learn and evolve all the time and figure out what works, what doesn't work, and do things that are uncomfortable.
Absolutely. No, absolutely can relate. I do have clients, coaches who say, like, I hate marketing, I hate promotion. Can you just please give me clients? I want to coach them, and that's all I want to do. No, absolutely. You're not alone in that. I love business side. That's what I do. That's why I help coaches. I'm lucky that I love that part actually as much as I love coaching, but I think I'm just one of the few. Majority of coaches really want to focus on what they do, they craft their clients, and kind of outsource or kind of magically have that happen. What would you say, or which are today your main sources of clients?
Yeah, so today I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. I mean, that's the platform I use the most.
Right.
And my podcast. So there are two kind of go hand in hand in a way. And I look at it as two things. Like first of all, sharing stories, showing who I am, because coaching is very personal. So people need to feel like they connect to you some way, right? I just had someone reach out to me last week. Hey, I really want you to coach me, because she kind of, saw what I'm doing and like, yeah, see, you coach women in tech, and yeah, that's what I need. So and it's, people have to also understand that this is like a marathon. So when you put your stuff out there, they're not immediate gains. And sometimes you feel like you're doing something like no one reads it. So I think that, to your kind of question, so it's mostly kind of through constantly putting myself out there and also reaching out. So I talk with tons of women all the time, all the time. I reach out to women, I talk to them. Either they're on my podcast or just I reach out and start like engaging with different women that I think are my kind of typical ICP. The good thing, first of all, it's uncomfortable. So I always like to challenge myself to do things that are uncomfortable because this is how we grow. And also, the second thing is that I think that the more you talked about outsourcing, right? But think about it. If you outsource this, how would you know who are your clients? How would you know what are their problems? How would you know what do you need to do in order to sell them? And you don't know until you talk to them.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm in a, we had this discussion on my previous episode with Scott, another very experienced coach. And almost just like me, he said, it's probably not possible to outsource exactly because of that. Coaching is very personal. And people need to see you, real you, not just your professional kind of opinions, not your professional industry knowledge, but actually you, the human side of you, right? They need to connect with you on the different levels, on the value level, on the background level, on different levels. Only then they will feel comfortable to reach out to you.
For sure. And I think you mentioned something like they want to connect with you. And the good thing about it that you don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to worry about perfectionism and being super professional and perfect. Like, because people want to know who you are as a person. And so I'm not a perfectionist. Luckily, I never was. So I just put myself out there, and if I have an inspiration about something, I just write something. I do use AI to improve my writing, but it's like, okay, this is an idea. I just literally I take my phone, I just type it or record myself when I have this kind of inspiration. Oh, this is what I want to talk about, and I just put it out there. So it may not be perfect, but it will be me. It will be personal. And because I'm working all the time with women, like inspiration never ends because you keep kind of bumping into different stories. I don't share any specific details, never, but it gives me inspiration about like what are the things that are important to talk about that are relevant.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I want to stress this out for our listeners, the people who watch this, that you see, even when you're well advanced in your career, it never stops. Even it never stops in terms of putting yourself out there and contacting people. So the outreach. So, I always say there's only one strategy that doesn't work is when you sit and wait for everything to come to you. That's not a winning strategy. You need to go, you need to put yourself out there, you need to go out there, contact people, connect with people, in different ways, in the ways that are more suitable to you, video, audio, text. That could be a different strategy, right? But the only strategy that doesn't work is just waiting for it to come and find you.
Yeah, and I would say one thing though, I want to emphasize that you shouldn't just reach out to people and immediately sell yourself. That doesn't work. And I'm
How
sure
many of those do you receive on LinkedIn
my
daily?
goodness, I mean, and I'm sure you get those too. So every
100%.
day I get people to be honest, I always connected with anyone that wanted, but recently I started to be kind of I'm not accepting everyone, because if I see someone that I know what their next step is going to be, there's a pattern to that, right? I mean, they're
Yes.
offering SEO services or whatever, and they reach out to me, and they're from specific countries, which I won't mention, but it's like, oh, I know this kind of person. I see on their profile like who they are, and like, okay, I know the next message is going to be like a sales speech,
Yeah.
and I just don't connect with them. And if I connect with someone and that person directly pitch me, I either ignore them or just remove them, not because I have something against them. I understand they have a service they want to sell, but that's not how you sell.
No. No. I receive dozens of those in a week. Before I actually replied to them, not anymore. I just don't have the capacity to reply to
Yeah.
them saying this is not the way to sell your services. There is a way, but it's all starts with connection as a person, with with normal human. Think about dating experience. You wouldn't come to someone in a cafe and say, "Hey, do you want to go to my apartment?" Or that's what they do, right? In the first message, they say, "Do you want to jump on a call with me?" They put it in their first message. Like, think about when you come to a girl or to a man in a cafe and you want to get to know them, you just say hi, my name is, that's whatever. It's just people forgot what human to human connection look like. Absolutely not how it's done by this.
Yeah, and I would say give before you expect something back. I'm a huge believer in giving back. I still do pro bono, and I also like women that I reach out to. Typically, what I want to get to know them a little bit. Some of them, you know, exchange some conversation with me. Some of them not. That's okay too, because some people are suspicious and they will say, "Oh, okay, I don't want to talk to you."
Yeah.
And I try to kind of understand them, what's going on for them. Sometimes I help them, just like connect them. They say, "Oh, I'm looking at a job," and say, "Oh, I just talked to this person. I connect you to them." So, like, I'm not expecting an immediate return. Or if I talk to someone and I know that that's not the right time for them to have a coach, that's also okay. Don't try to sell someone something that they don't need, or that's not the right timing.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we wrap up, I want to ask you, as a vice president of the Israeli ICF chapter, I want to ask you maybe a little bit obvious question, like, what is the benefit of being part of the coach community? Like, because I think it's a must. Honestly, coaching is such a difficult, tough, lonely job that I don't
Yeah.
think anyone can be successful in a more holistic way if they're not part of something bigger. So I want to hear your words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first of all, I would say the ICF as a whole, right? I mean, there are two things. The ICF as a professional organization for coaches, which has high standards, and just being part of that kind of forces you into upskilling, continuous learning, education, and keeping yourself kind of sharpening the soul all the time, and keeping yourself not just at your level, but advancing yourself all the time. So just being a member of ICF and renewing your kind of credentials helps you with that, because it's very structured and kind of you're forced to continue in learning and growing. And the chapters are like the local communities, right? There is the big ICF community, and there are the local communities. And as you said, like, it's very lonely being a coach, and you really need to have interaction with other coaches, to learn from them, to meet them. So we just started today like a learning community where we, like, several coaches, we meet virtually, and we either talk about the specific kind of topic, or we do maybe mock coaching. And because think about it, when you after you graduated from your coaching certification, you never kind of do those things, right? And it's very uncomfortable, to be honest, to coach someone and then other people critique you or comment.
Of course,
It's like you don't do it after you finish your school, your coaching school. What? And you're definitely not perfect after that. Like as I told you,
nobody is perfect.
yeah, I'm just scratching the surface. Like I feel like I have so much to learn and grow. So it's like it keeps you both connected to like-minded people, and also it helps you grow and become better and to get different perspectives as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm part, at Coach Me, we have a community, and I would love to become part of Israeli ICF
Absolutely, yeah.
chapter, because I think every aspect, doing a business, building a business is a tough journey. and then being a coach and growing professionally and staying, on top of the game. All of this requires to be part of something, part of the community of like-minded people who can support you, who can celebrate with you, who can give feedback, like you said, like all these things at some points in your journey. You just can't go along. This famous African proverb, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go far, and we just said that this is marathon. Building a business is a marathon. It's not. A lot of people see or promote coaching as a get rich quick, 7 figures business. It's absolutely not. It takes a long time to develop, lifetime. It takes a long time to build it to the level that you want. I mean, it's a long marathon. So having people by your side is like, I think it's a must. Like, I don't know. That's my point of view.
I agree with you. I also think it's a must, and I would say that you need to enjoy the journey, not just kind of think about a destination. To me, I mean, there is no destination. Like, obviously I want to grow and learn, but it never ends. And I want to enjoy it, right? So I want to enjoy and meet new people. So yeah, that's what a community brings you. And the good thing about local community is that you can actually meet people in person.
Yeah.
Because we're all so tired. We're also Zoom fatigue. Like, we meet over Zoom all the time, and we want really the human connection, to meet people in person. And we do also those kind of in-person networking events. And yeah, I know you have to step out of your home and commute, but you meet other people, and that's wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. I'm super happy. I do all my work, all my coaching, everything I do is online. So I would be super happy to have some live meetings, and we're having a coffee sometime soon.
We'll meet for coffee for sure.
All right. Well, Limor, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Where our listeners and people who watch this can find you online?
Yeah, I think they should go to LinkedIn. That's probably the first place to go and to get to know me a little bit. And I invite you also to listen to my podcast, From a Woman to a Leader. And that's another way to get to know me and the women that I interview.
Yeah. Perfect. We'll put those links in the show notes on my website, on the YouTube, and wherever you listening. Again, thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lidia. It's been a pleasure.